Okay, welcome. I hope you guys can see and hear me. Um, I'm going to be going back and forth in here, and I want to get some feedback from you in the chat box. So do me a favor, and I'm going to switch over here, and you guys will probably have to let me know if you can hear me in the chat box. Let me go back and see what's going on. See how many people we got here. Okay, I can see you guys. Can you hear me? Is everything cool? Can you hear me? Type it in the chat box. Can you hear me? Okay. Okay. I'm just typing in saying, this is Khalik. Can you hear me? Do me a favor and answer me to let me know that you can hear me and everything. And if you can see a screen with Pro Tools on it, and let me know everything's all good. And if so, then we'll go ahead and get on with the presentation. Okay. Can anybody hear me? Can you guys hear me? Type it in and let me know. Now, okay, good. You can hear me? Cool, cool. All right, good. Well, that's good news. We tried a different software yesterday, which was not quite so friendly. So I went back to good old Google Hangouts and everything. So I'm just going to test and check a couple of settings just to be sure everything's straight before we go get into this. And I'm glad I did because I want to go to video mode, have a little bit better experience for you guys today. Okay, so anyway, what I'm going to do is switch over now, and this is today's presentation is called the Weak Mix Terminator. We are going to get rid of weak mixes. I'm going to share with you all the little things that I can to help you go ahead and eliminate and get rid of weak mixes, because we don't want that. I want to show you the little tricks and everything. There's a lot of stuff out there, some great information, but there's a little stuff that adds up that it will help you really get to it. So one of the things we're going to do, and when we go through this, we're going to go and like weak bass. I'm going to show you where to start looking. So that's going to be terminated. We ain't going to have no more weak bass. How about we're going to make sure that we don't have cloudy mixes, okay? Cloudy mixes will be terminated. You're going to look in and find, I gave you a great cheat sheet that'll help you find things to clear up the common problem frequencies cheat sheet. So if you got that, that'll help you clear up some things. And then weak grooves, we're going to have those terminated as well. We're going to be done with them, getting them out of here, and show you how to build in some power and majesty to what you're doing and everything. Okay, so I've got a question for you. Before we get started, do you know who this guy is? Do you recognize him? And do you know how he is related to mixing music? Anybody want to take a guess or anything? Let me see if we got any takers here that might know what's going on with that. Let me switch over here and see what you guys know. See what you guys know. Nobody really knows who that is. Okay, okay. Well, there's a couple people that may have a clue. Maybe they saw this before. But okay, so anyway, what I'm going to do is move on and tell you later on. I'll share with that who this guy is. I'll share who he is, and we're going to get into how he's related to mixing music. Okay, so anyway, let's just go ahead and get right to this real quick. Hold on for a second, because okay, my computer's running a little slow. Okay, let's get right to it and everything. And today, talk about what we're going to cover. Okay, I'm going to talk about 3 different ways of making your mixes clearer and fatter and better sounding. And my computer's running a little slow, guys, so it's taking a second for my slides to catch up where they should be. But we're going to do all that without sucking the life out of it, and make sure that I show you how to remove some of the biggest obstacles that are stopping you from progressing. And I'm going to show you also how to remove and eliminate and terminate things that have been keeping you frustrated, things that are overwhelming you. You know, you just got too many choices and things like that. You know, we're going to learn how to get rid of all the things like distractions and stuff like that that's happening. Has anybody ever run into some of that stuff? We're having distractions and everything. I know it's pretty common to run into distractions and be confused about all the things and get caught up in information overload. There's a lot of stuff. It can keep you from finally just finishing what it is you're trying to do, okay? And that's not a good thing. We want to get you to the point where you can finally finish your music and work at the highest level, get it sounding great, okay? So let me do a little quick switch here, and we're going to get into it, because I know you've been suffering from information overload. I get emails all the time, and it's just like I was, because a lot of people don't realize that, you know, no matter how long I've been around, I'm always learning, and I suffer from information overload just like you do. Many times I have to say, okay, scale it back, colleague, and let's get back and remember what's important. Okay, trying to figure out exactly what to do, you know, instead of actually doing it. That's a big deal, you know, just trying to go through all that. So now let me do something real quick. I want to see if I think I may need to switch and close out a couple of things, because my system seems to be running pretty darn slow now that I've gotten started. So let me change something real quick. Stand by. Yeah, what okay. Let me stand by for a second, guys, because my computer's running slow, so the screen is just kind of doing a roll here. Okay, now one of the things I want to talk to you about, okay, that's going to be a problem. Stand by for a second. I had to, let me go back into my presentation. It froze up on me. I'm going to reopen it. And then I'll get back with you in a second. Hold on, stand by, stand by. I'll be right with you in this hot second. Close some of this stuff down. Got too many things going on, so it's stressing out my computer. Okay, so that should help. Okay, so I'm gonna reopen my presentation and stand by for a second. Coming back. It is now opening. And we are almost there. And I'll continue. Okay. Okay, how many of you guys have mixing problems or whatever, mixing challenges that you worked on, and you know, you worked on something and it just kind of got you in a place where you were stuck and you couldn't get some things done? Does anybody run into that? Type it in the chat box and let me know. Yeah, you got mixing problems. Tell me maybe what's the one biggest thing that's been a big frustration for you. I know for me, for the longest time, I had a problem with getting low end right, and I tried all the different things, all the different advice that was given to me about getting low end, but for some reason, it just kind of took a long time to just figure it out. So has anybody else had all that? Had any of those problems? And the way this, let me let you know how this works. I'm asking you some of these questions, and then I'm going to pause in between me asking, because Webinar Jam actually takes a while to catch up. So this is like maybe a 30-second delay. And so I'm going to ask you something, and then stand by. And then I'm going to ask you something, and then wait for a few seconds in between. Okay? So if you guys have ever run into that, let me know. Okay, now I think my presentation may be back. No, it's not back. Oh, God. This drives me crazy, guys. Okay. I'm going to close Keynote again and reopen it. Let me reopen Keynote so you can see it. And what I'm going to do too is if I keep having problems here, I just think I'm running too much stuff on this computer, so it's stressing it out. So what I may end up having to do is switch to my other computer like I did yesterday. Okay, let me try this again. One more time, open Keynote. Get my presentation back up. Stand by. Okay. All right, so we've got a spinning ball here. Okay, well, so what I'm going to do, guys, I'm ad-libbing here, and then because this is not working out quite right, and I don't know what's going on. It always happens once I get started. It was working fine earlier. I did a test, and it worked fine, and I swear this drives me crazy. Okay, keep saying Keynote is not responding. It's just locked up. Okay, let me do one thing real quick. Stand by. Good Lord. Probably one of those things where I should have restarted. Okay, so what I'm going to do anyway, I'm going to move over to Pro Tools real quick. Let me do this. What I'm going to do for right now is play a a short clip. This, one of the things that I had in my keynote presentation was talking about capturing feeling. So I'm going to go over here and play a clip from one of my courses called Mixing Gospel Music. So I wanted to give you an idea of what's going on. So hopefully you guys can hear that video and see that video. I did a couple of interesting things in here, so I want to show you. This is how, getting into this last part that we're talking about, I'm going to work on mixing gospel music. And when we get into this last part where we were talking about, let me go back to the other slide for a second and go up here. The enhancement and all that and controlling and everything, but this last part, the subliminal sonic messaging of each instrument, and then making sure that you have a spiritual connection. Here's what I brought to this song to make sure that was in there now. What I did was I made sure that I did the concept, and you probably heard it, and I'm going to point it out to you a little bit. part of this subliminal sonic messaging. If you recall, when you heard the first version and everything, sounded good. It wasn't bad and all that. But as I was listening to it, and I'm like, man, this song, I want to feel more out of because it's an instrumental other than the background vocals in it, because it's a sax player song and everything. I want that whole thing about connecting with God and just having that spiritual uplifting feeling and everything. So I wanted to say, how can I do this sonically and give it more of the interest and everything? So one thing that I did in this song was I bent the room. I don't know if you heard it and everything or noticed that, but I'm going to point it out to you and show you exactly what I did. But basically, that's what it was. As I was sitting back, I was imagining, what do I like this? And every time you heard those little stops and everything, the stops and breaks were cool, but they were really plain. And I wanted to feel like, okay, we're getting pulled into heaven, drawn to Jesus, or we're being cradled in protection and love and blessings. I wanted all that. What does that sound like? I had to ask myself, what does that sound like? And so I started thinking that, okay, let me add, the first thing that you do is, okay, the natural thing, let me add delays or reverbs and little effects and stuff like that, maybe some phases, flanges and all that. But all that was not the right answer for me, because I felt, no, that's too common, it's too obvious, and it's not special enough for me. So I kept thinking, what could I do differently? And out of all the plugins that I have and all the resources and everything, I need to grab the right thing to make this feeling that I have. It wasn't even tangible. I couldn't tell you what it was that I was feeling that it needed. I just knew that it needed something. So what I did was I thought about it, you know what? Instead of just putting the normal delay stuff and all that, what if I bent the ambience on the room? So what I did was I tried it on a couple of things and everything. At first I tried it with some other instruments. I tried it on the drums and I tried it on some of them. Wasn't quite what I wanted. And what I finally ended up on when I tried it was I bent the room, the ambience of the guitar. Now, why did I do that? That gets back into our checklist of one of the things is, what are the key players? The guitar, you can hear in there, is a critical key player. You can't get rid of that guitar and have this groove. Why? Because the keyboards that are in there and everything, they're just playing like the pads and things like that, and that's cool, but that's just foundational stuff that you can mute it in or mute it out and you wouldn't miss it in the song. But you can't get rid of that guitar. The guitar is the main foundation. The guitar and the bass are what carry that whole melodic foundation and structure. So those were the things, the main things that I had to think about. And so I decided to bend the room, because on the guitar, it didn't have all that. If you notice on the first reference track, it didn't have any of that on the guitar. Guitar was a decent sound, and it had some built-in effects on it already that the guitar player had recorded in the recording. But for me, like I said, I wanted it to be special and evoke the emotion of drawing people closer to God. That's the whole thing about gospel music is, it's supposed to make you really feel that spiritual connection and really make you just want to get things together and have appreciation for how you've been blessed in life and all this. So when I listened to that, it was like, that's what I have to do, whatever way to pull that out. So let me go over here and I'm going to show you exactly what I did in here. I'm going to play the track, and then I'm going to mute out a couple of things so that you can just hear it right now. Let me go back to the beginning first. So I got the sax and the vocals. So we got the strings and all that in there in the intro. The bass going. You hear the guitar. Something else I did, listen to the drums. The drums were real plain before, but I got them stretching, just pulling this. Into the beat. Drop me in. See, I'm pulling them because that's part of the feeling that I want to put in, drawing you towards heaven. We're pulling you. I'm not being laid back. I'm pulling them along, pulling you along with your ear. You hear the keyboards just gluing it all together and the guitar doing this little thing. But then check it out. And I do a little break. That one went up. Some of them go up, some of them go down, depending on the section of the song. If you can hear, how would you play stuff on the Magic Mix Grid? Where would you play stuff? I'm gonna show you what I did. We're into the hook there, talking about true worship. Now we're into, and I pulled them into there. I did a rise on that guitar. I'm talking about give him your heart, give him your mind, you know, give him your soul, you know. So that messaging, the landmark sections and everything, I'm making sure that everything I do supports what that landmark messaging is for each section. The different roles play, different things take over, and other things sit back and everything. So the guitar is the main thing. You can't do without that guitar. But what I'm going to do now is, let's go here and play this. Let me mute the keyboard. See, you can get rid of everything else. That guitar and that bass and the drums are carrying it. Listen. Subtle. Certain times I made it more obvious, other times I made it real subtle, but it's pulling on you, it's playing with you. But listen to the sound of the guitar too. You probably didn't notice it. You probably thought I just had some straight delays on there. I got a little more going. I'll show you what's going on. On so I can hear a little closer. I'm bending the stuff and I'm making it all work with the crashes and all they're all working together. And that pulls us in and pulls us up to another level. So you see how I'm dropping people in and out. I'm picking them up, dropping them into grooves, pulling them forward, just moving them, different little things, pushing them left, pushing them right, doing all kinds of stuff. Oops, that's going up against my thing, so excuse me. Well, let me adjust this microphone a little bit so it doesn't make as much noise. I moved it. Okay, anyway, you can hear that this is, you know, I injected all these different little subtle things that as you're hearing it and everything, you wouldn't know there was that much going on. Did you notice, let me take this off, I'm not listening to it now. Did you notice with the guitar, Also, maybe when you were just listening casually, you probably heard it and thought that I just had some basic echo, delay and a basic reverb on it. But I don't know if you heard it and noticed it, that I had some auto filtering going on, doing some stuff and everything. I had some movement going on with the guitar as well. So let me tell you and show you how I'm placing this within the Magic Mix Grid. So let me see. Let me mute the bass. So that way you can just hear just the guitar, and then we can pay attention to that and see what's going on. Okay, so. Hear that? What? You hear that little things? I put all that stuff on there. Dang, dang, dang. See, I got that triplet going. Dang, dang, dang. Dang, 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 dang. And then drop them back into the verse. Slightly different, more subtle roll. So I have that stuff in there to give it. So that's why you may or may not have noticed it. At different times I made it a little more subtle than I wanted it to be felt more than heard. And then you hear those little room bends. Sometimes I'm doing them real subtle. Other times I'm making them very obvious. And notice where they're panned in the Magic Mix Grid. They're moving around. That one comes up, pulling you up. Sometimes it's pulling you up, sometimes it's dropping you down into the feeling like you're being cradled. See, I expanded into, because that expanded into the bridge, so I needed to take it up. See, that's where them triplets help with the beat too. Dropping right back into the thing, So all of this stuff is thought out. It's no accident. I'm doing this stuff for a reason, all the little stuff, and you may not even hear it, but you definitely feel what's going on in there. You don't. Okay, I wanted to talk to you right now. Okay, I wanted to stop that for a second now, and I wouldn't switched over because I'm having problems for some reason with the presentation just being slow. So we're kind of out of order here for what I wanted to do. But I wanted to let you hear that part because, let you hear how you can build in some things into what you're doing in your mixing. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you as much as I can with this one, even facing some of these challenges. I don't know why things are slowing down or whatever, but I obviously need to probably quit running everything through this one computer. It obviously can't handle all the stuff that I'm doing. It's locking up and freezing. So what I'm going to do now is basically show you. I'm going to show you the PowerPoint, the raw version of it, and then we'll get back to it because it just keeps freezing up every time I try to do it and have the music going and everything. But what I want you to do me a favor and type in and let me know if you got some good nuggets out of that where it is able to help you understand a few things on there. Type it in and let me know. Does that make sense to you, some of the stuff I was doing? Type in and let me know. Is it making sense? Are you getting this and seeing where I'm going with some of this stuff? It's a big part of the secrets that I was going to tell you about that are in my presentation. One of the first things is that making sure that you have the feeling and how it relates to the song itself, you know. And I have a few more ways of showing you that, but if I keep having these problems, what I'll do is I'll come back and do it better next time. But you know, it's better to just go on, and I wanted to play that part for you. I'm going to play a couple other things for you because that's probably going to be the easiest way to get through this presentation. So I want to be sure some of these concepts that I just hit you with, does that make sense? Type it in the chat and let me know. I want to be sure I'm getting through to you guys. You can understand it. Plus, I also want to be sure you're able to hear it on your end. Everything clear and everything's working. That's the only way I can do. Type it in. I'm going to pause for a little bit and then come back to you guys to make sure that we're actually hearing it and seeing what's going on the way we're supposed to. Oops. Get out of that. Okay. Okay. And one of the other things that I want to do is explain to you. Let me go over here to Pro Tools just by itself and see if we can open a session. I'm going to go inside of that session and show you some more things, and we're going to dig into some of the other elements that I have in there. We are going off script right now because since the presentation, the computer can't seem to handle playing the presentation and playing all this other stuff. So I'm just going to get in here and just give you guys as much value as I can by staying straight in Pro Tools and showing you a couple of things that I'm doing. Okay, so as soon as this loads up, we'll go ahead and get back to it. And I'm waiting. I'm kind of stalling for time to see if what kind of answers we got in here. Okay, so okay, you guys are saying, yeah, I bent the ambience, Jim. Then I'm going to show you what I did. I used a plugin called Black Hole, and it's by Eventide, and it's a great plugin that I use to bend the ambience. I could have did it with other things too. But that particular plugin just fit, and it's just what I wanted. So we're going to go in here now, and let me see. Let me go to a spot in here, and I can let you kind of hear what's going on with some of this stuff. And let's move back down here into the session. I closed out some of the stuff. And I'm going to mute this sax. Okay, so as far as one of the things that I wanted to show you guys as far as the feeling in this song. This song has a lot of different elements that are going to tie together, and the threading together is very important for this song that's called True Worship. So let me do this. Let me go back to the beginning for a second and play it. Let's see, do I want to do that? Yeah, let me just go. Now, I'm gonna mute the vocals. To come before the Father's presence, surrendering our lives. Okay, I'm gonna mute that out. Okay, so did you? I don't know if you could hear, but what I want to show you is I'm gonna unmute the. Let me do the drums and the guitar. Kind of let you hear what's going on with that. Let's try from here. Try. Okay, so one of the concepts that I teach is about, you know, when you start out with all this stuff, you have to figure out what the key player is and everything. And I talked to you about that previously if you've been on some of the other webinars. But the key players in here for this particular song, the guitar is definitely handling it along with the drums. You know, the bass is handling a melodic aspect of it as well too. So when you have to thread these things to work together as one unit that's breathing. And one of the things that like I said, the guitar started out very plain sounding. So I'm going to go and show you how I kind of ramped that up with a few things again. So the guitars are over here, and then show you how I made them work in with the keys. So I'm running them through, which is FabFilter's Timeless for some of the delays, and I added filtering and everything. So it's doing some automatic modulating stuff to make it pulse. So in that video I mentioned about the triplets. Listen out. Dun, 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 dun. You hear it? So even though the groove is going straight, I wanted to add propulsion by adding those triplets, you know, so this is, we got the straight ahead beat, but the triplets had that so dun, dun. So that's a little subliminal thing. And why did I add that in as opposed to you just straight beat eighth note or 16th note or quarter note triplets? Why did I go, or quarter notes? Why did I go for triplets? And one of the reasons why, like I said, is because it wasn't about just the sound. I wanted to delay on the sound. I figured the guitar would feel good and everything, but it's also about feel. This is one of the secrets. Secret number one is you've got to inject feel in there. And part of that feel, to get the feel working in this thing, I wanted, like I said, this song is a song it's called True Worship. It's about God. I wanted it to feel like we're being pulled towards God, or God is reaching out his hands to us, you know, for protection and, you know, just wrapping around safety, cradling, all that whole thing. So this is why I chose triplets instead, because it injects a sense of propulsion that's pulling us towards God subliminally. These are little things that make your music take on a different life. So, you know, some people, when they're thinking about mixing music and putting some of the elements together, they're just thinking in terms of putting the sound on it, putting the effect, the processing and everything. But for me, before any of that, you want to inject the feeling or deal with the feeling that's already in there. One of the slides that I had on there, that guy that I first asked you about, his name was Michelangelo, and you know, when I'm going to show this presentation again, and I'm probably going to load the PowerPoint on a completely different computer so it doesn't stress out this one computer. I started to do that today, but I ended up trying it all on one computer, and I see that was a mistake. But I want you to see the presentation because it leads you through and gets you thinking about how all these things tie in and different concepts that people have out there. They all work and apply to our music. And one of the things Michelangelo said, because he's a great sculptor, inventor, and everything else, but he basically said that it's the job of the sculptor to uncover basically the statue that's already inside of the stone, so it's the same thing. The song is already inside of what we have here. It'll speak to us if we listen, and all we got to do is get rid of the stuff that isn't the song, and add the elements that are there. If we listen, we should be able to hear a final thing in our head and say, okay, here's what's missing and that I need to go ahead and make sure that I uncover. It's already in there, so I kind of felt that beat. I felt the other thing that I was telling you about. So we dealt with Timeless, but one of the other programs I told you here was Black Hole. And Black Hole is what I use to bend the ambience. So I did that because Black Hole helps me, pull you up towards God, or, make us feel like we're being dropped into protection, So let's play it from let's try a spot here. Mute the bass. You hear it, how I pulled it up? Drop you in. Close it. So you hear how that pulled us up. It's pulling us closer, dragging it. Sometimes it goes up, sometimes it goes down. Here. And can you hear the modulation that I have on the reverbs? I mean, on the delays. You hear that wah, 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 that little wah sound? Just drop them in. Drop them in. And back into safety. So all of that stuff was done on purpose. I did it to subliminally play with the emotion. Anybody that's listening and didn't hear this explanation that I'm giving would never know that they're hearing and feeling what they feel. But when you hear this song, I'm making you feel more into this song rather than it just being a nice sounding song. I'm purposely building in things to, play with your emotion, to feel like this is a song about worship, so you feel that. You feel like it makes you want to go closer to God, or God is reaching out to you. You feel the wrap of protection, and it's just moving us. It's subliminally, it's sonically playing with those things to get the message across, to tie in with the feeling, and to make a connection, the connection with the listener, so that there's three elements, the feeling, the connection, and the message all have to tie together with what we're hearing. So even though whether you hear lyrics or not going on at that particular time, there still is something being spoken back there, as far as I'm trying to convey, like I said, what the whole message of this song, true worship. So without even hearing those words, you're feeling the true worship nature of this song. And that is something that I want you all to learn how to dig into and deal with that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop for a second and let me check back in on the PowerPoint. The keynote is down, but the PowerPoint I mean, yeah, the keynote is down, but let me check on the Hangout to see what's going on in the chat is what I meant to say. And does that make sense to you guys? Type in if you got any questions or anything is a little strange to you, not making sense and not coming together for you. And otherwise, I'll continue. I'm basically doing this is an ad-libbing kind of presentation because I can't play my slides for you. So we're going to ad lib, and I'm just kind of going in and showing you some things inside of this session of how I got with the 3 different secrets. And what I'll do is we're going to do an encore presentation of this one. We'll have it done the right way where I'm going to bring in another computer, and then that way I can give you the full presentation and everything. I'll be doing something special for you as well, since we're coming into Black Friday. Tomorrow is we got a holiday coming in, but then we're going to be coming into the holiday season. So I'm going to do something special for you guys probably on Friday or over the weekend. So is everything making sense? Type it in to the chat box and let me know everything is good with you guys. I'm going to look for this and wait to see it because there's about a 30-second delay before I see your answers. Okay. Okay, all right. And let me see. So, hey, Gordon, I'm glad you're on here too, man. What I might try to do at some point, Gordon, I don't know if you got any ideas on it. I might want to see if I can find a way to do it via Facebook Live or something like that. That might run a little bit better. But Gordon, do me a favor and let me know that if the audio is coming through. That's what I mainly avoided dealing with Hangouts, because usually the audio is pretty, jumpy and the quality is not that good. But okay, I'm going in and some of the vocal challenges, some of the challenges that a lot of people face when mixing is they have, Jim was saying, muddy things, muddy mixes, lack of clarity and presence. And Jim, I sure hope you downloaded my common problem frequencies cheat sheet. If you had a chance to download that, that'll help you solve a lot of that stuff. It'll give you some good jumping off points to look for those problems that pop up. They pretty much pop up in these general areas pretty regularly. And so they're good starting places to look. You can find that at colleagueglover.com/cheat sheet. That's colleagueglover.com/cheat sheet if you don't have it. Okay. Muddy mixes, things like that, getting vocals right. Okay, Gordon, the video feed is good, the audio stream. Okay, thank you, Gordon, I appreciate that. That took a long time to come through, I'm learning that I've got all these things that I'm injecting in here, but I can't run them all through this one computer or it overloads it. My fan is going real loud, man, and it started kicking up, so I had to start quitting stuff and everything. So anyway, we got this back right now, so we're looking good. I'm glad. That's cool. So let me raise the DAW level a little bit more. Okay, I was trying to. What I'll do is I'll probably take it up and down, Gordon, because what I found is it starts distorting when it's going over the web. I noticed that when I used to do them before and have them loud, and people would tell me it was distorting a bit. So I found a good sweet spot here where they can still hear me talk and still hear the music. I'll try to bump it up a hair, but I can't go much more because I know it'll probably start crackling and getting that digital distortion. So anyway, let's continue on. Let me see what else I can show you guys. So one of the other things that I did, in fact, I'm going to go to another part of the presentation. Now, all of this that I'm telling you right now, guys, is part of my course called Mixing Gospel Music. And I had something special that I was going to show you and everything, but I can't show you that now. So I'm just going to kind of give you teasers of what might be in there. But I want to show you some of the stuff because I'm very proud of this course and I have a lot inside of it. So I want to show you some of the things because even though we're talking about gospel music here, this applies to any kind of music. you can use some of these things. So I'm just going to go to, let me go back over to, I want to play this other thing. And this was part of, this is in, I have little mini tutorials that are inside my mixing gospel music course. So this is one of them. It basically talks about a concept that I came up with. One of the things that I have, and I can probably show you guys. In fact, let me see if I can find one. I'll show you a representation of it. I have this thing right here. I'm going to switch and show you this real quick. Stand by. Let me find which one. Okay, I think I found it. No, that's not it. Let me see. I want this one. Okay, so I'm going to show you this. Now I have this. This is called my fatness factor worksheet, and this is in inside mixing gospel music. But what this is this is a worksheet, one of the resources that I have that helps you go ahead and build fatness into your mixes by looking at certain things. But I'm going to play this section for you because this is based on that worksheet. Okay, I wanted to talk to you right now about the 3XFF, which is the 3 times fatness factor based on that sheet, the worksheet that we have. So the reason why I called it the 3XFF is because basically we got 3 categories of dealing with this fatness factor thing that we're talking about here. How to make things fatter. So category 1, we're going to be talking about making things fatter using EQ or tone shaping. So that's basically frequency fatness. Fatness through using things that shape the tone and the frequencies. Okay, number 2 is making things fatter by widening or doubling them, and that's girth fatness. Using delays and harmonizers, doubling, things like that. These are things that you add on and they become in addition to what's already there. And the third category is making things fatter with like saturation and texturizing type things. Textural fatness can be tubes and tape stuff and consoles and things like that, distortion and overdrive. So there's a lot of different ways of achieving it, and we're going to check out using combinations of all 3 here. So let me go back over here to Pro Tools, and in particular, I want to show you, we listened to the guitars previously, but I want to show you and listen to this in combination with some things working together. That's what it's all about. What I'm going to do is show you these instruments here, the guitars, and then this keyboard pad, to hear how they're working together. So let me solo. I've got a few things going on here to achieve this. This is a combination of these different fatness factor elements. Let me stop that for a second. So let me explain to you what I've got going on here now. We talked previously about the guitar and the way I widen that up, using the delays and how I'm running it through a console simulator. I'm running all the guitars and this pad. Everybody's coming over here. Well, not everybody. Both the guitars are coming over here and then being controlled on this side, running through a tape simulator, and then the black hole, and then transients in the console and limiter. Okay, that's that one chain and everything. But now to make that work with this pad, I've got these. And I'll talk over it, let you hear it. This pad here had to work with that guitar. So what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to mute all this stuff I have on here. You could hear it change immediately right away. It's just... So that came in, and I could have made it, when I push it up louder, it's real thick. I'm leaving it down now because I already enhanced it, got it where it's blending good. but if you can listen to the tone, you hear that it's a real nice pad, but it's real thick sounding. It's got a lot of stuff in there. So one of the first things that I did was, to make it work, I have the EQ in there, and I put that on there. And even with it being low, you can hear it clear it up right away, dipping out some of the low stuff that's not needed. All this stuff down here, you know, we didn't need all this low stuff that's going on in this low end down here. So you can see the extreme low stuff. It's gently sloping off at 12 dB per octave, but we got a nice little dip in here. We got a dip here where we had a funny frequency, and we're taking it off at the top as well. Okay, so that's one way of getting it in there. So that way I could kind of sit it in and get it right where I want it to be. You know, sometimes taking things out can help you make it sound fatter. It's about perception of how things sound. Okay, so then now I put this on here. So the next thing I did, you hear that pump up a little bit, I put on the Isotopes alloy. So, you know, I'm just got it in here and I've got it equalized a little bit, you know, deal with certain frequencies I wanted to deal with. I've got a little slight transient thing here. It's not really doing a lot. You know, got a little exciter going on there. Some dynamics controller there, and then the limiter controller. If I take it off, yeah, I want it to work with the guitar more. Okay, so we got that, but we're not done yet. That wasn't bad. And I start, you know, you start in and you build these things and see what more do you need. So, you know, part of the fatness factor, we've used a couple of things. We dealt with tone shaping, and basically, I'm not widening too much in here. I'm mainly using, you know, I'm mainly using these things to make it fatter and sit in, and with little, you know, the alloy kind of adds little things in there with the exciter and all that, and then just basically it's being controlled. But here's where I get into the next part, where I add this. My soft tube is giving me saturation. So you hear, I'll take it off, I'll put it in. You hear how it thickens up and gets just gets that character that I want. So because that's the warm cradle sound that I kept talking about. So I wanted more of that. And then I'm still not done. Okay, so now I've got it cradling a little bit more. So I put the clariphonic on here. This is a clariphonic. You hear it sparkle a little bit more. And why did I put that on there? I put that on because I wanted the melody line to articulate in the chord change. When we go back. The little melody line, so you can kind of hear that. So that pulls that out a little bit more. But I'm still not done yet. This whole thing still needs to work with the guitar. And you hear them both, but you still hear the guitar. So this last part I have is this Eventide Ultra Channel. And then that adds some more. That's adding texture because I'm using the combination of the compressor, the variable compressors, EQ to push certain frequencies. So that was the different things that I talked about over here when I talked about frequency bumping and things like that. So I'm doing little things like that. But I'm also doing, I got the micro pitch shift on over here, and I've got delays on here, just kind of subtly to add a little bit more. Take it away. It thickens up, it widens up, it spreads. So I'm hitting from all different angles on this one pad with all these different fatness factors. So you know, because I wanted it to work and support, because even though it's a simple pad sound, it's very important to the emotion of how it feels supporting that guitar. You know, I didn't want it to just kind of be there. I wanted them two to feel like they're working together, but you can still hear them very closely working together sonically. So I hope that gives you an insight onto my thought process on dealing with the 3X fatness factor, so that you can use this worksheet and fill in some things. And here's some ideas. Write down here's some ideas that pop into your mind, some instruments, and then the idea that how you might want to use one or all of these to achieve a certain goal. Print out a lot of these and use them while you're mixing. And remember this over here as well, things to avoid. Don't try to make everything big and fat, because if you do, then nothing suddenly is big and fat again. You got to use contrast. Contrast is the key. Don't just listen in solo, listen to how everything works together, So if I go back here and listen to everybody, turn off solo. I still got my pad there. It's not taking up too much room, but it's not lost. Working right along with the guitar. And the wideness. I can still hear the guitar. You heard how the guitar had all that, the little delays with the filter. In the background, you can still hear all that. Everybody's got its own place, and it feels good. Okay, so anyway, I just wanted to point that out to you. Use that chart and everything and think about how you're going to do it. We'll come back to another thing, and I'll show you on a couple other instruments how we'll use some of these things together to enhance the sound. This is Khalik, and I'll catch you in a little bit. Bye. Okay, so I wanted to show you that is part of my mixing gospel music course, one of the many lessons that I have in there. And because we got sidetracked a little bit, so I just wanted to kind of give that to you as a bonus to just kind of check out some of the things. But what I wanted to say to you guys is I'm going to do a much better presentation to show you more of what's going on with this, because this is a valuable process and product to me that I think will be very helpful and everything. But I don't want it to be represented by what's going on today's webinar, because you're not able to get the full experience and everything. Now this says mixinggospelmusic.com here, but the actual page is that the sales page it'll go to is /go. mixinggospelmusic.com /go. And I just want to tell you about just a bunch of stuff that I have on that, because I couldn't give you the full presentation. You probably may want to see the encore just to get a full idea of just how much is going to get there, because just going there cold, you're probably not going to be able to see that. But this is going to be a huge thing. I've got some great bonuses that go with it. Something that's really huge and a mega bonus. So I want to show you that in a proper presentation. But I figured I'll just tell you what that is and what it's going to be. And we'll get you a better presentation over the next couple of days, because I think you should see it. But as you can see, there's a lot. I don't hold anything back. I make sure that I want to show you guys my thought process behind what I'm doing with some of this stuff, because what I've been finding from all the things that I get from people is basically they're getting part of the puzzle, and they may not necessarily know what order to do things in, or why to do things or when not to do them. So little things like that, like I told you, me deciding on what the feeling was and how I needed to tie everybody together. The mistake that I used to make a long time ago, but I've learned better now over the course, is to immediately start getting in and just putting on compressors and EQs and all the other stuff, and doing them all as just little separate processes just to be doing them. And what I found over the course of time is, before you move to grab any of those things, you've got to have a more far-reaching vision of where you're trying to go with everything before you put anything on. Now the main thing with a lot of this stuff is solving problems first. So with frequency problems and stuff, that's why I created that cheat sheet. So you can, if you haven't gotten that, go to KhalikGlover.com /cheat sheet and down that, because that can help you get things prepared to mix. But then it's stuff like this that knowing, you know, like I said, the little things, like for example with the guitar, the original guitar that I had on there sounded good, and the guitar player played with his own pedal board, so he had a little bit of ordinary delay on there and stuff like that. But my mind took me to saying that because I wanted this to reach in, that's when I had to add delay to his delay, add reverb to it, add the filtering, add the triplets to the feel of it, add the bending of the room in there, deciding whether or not to put it in line with the guitar as opposed to putting it on an effect send and sending into an effect, which I'm actually doing a combination of both, you know. And you've got to, these are the things that a lot of people don't get, that that's all part of the puzzle. So they may do one thing or the other and not know that they're all tied together. So this kind of thing where you get a chance to look over my shoulder and actually hear what my thought process was while I was doing that is very valuable. And I think that in this course in particular, it's really helpful. I have another companion course that called Effects Magic, that I go into that strictly for effects. So it's like when something like this, you use you get your mixing and stuff together, but still knowing how to tie it in with effects is a big thing. So, you know, I want to show you a good presentation that'll give you some of the better the bird's eye view, a better bird's eye view of all the things that you need to make this happen. Because then what'll happen is imagine yourself knowing all this stuff instantly every time, so that your stuff can make you stand out from everybody. That's what really the goal is. I get more emails and stuff from people talking about, man, I've been doing this a long time and I just can't get my stuff noticed, and you know, I'm thinking about giving up and stuff like that. And that breaks my heart to hear that, because I know how it is. I've had that happen to me a few times where I felt like, you know, well, nobody's ever going to pay attention. You know, it feels good to me and I think I'm doing a good job, but I'm not breaking through. But then, you know, I got to admit, I was very blessed, because I didn't realize how many people were watching me. So somebody watched me for like almost 2 years. And then I got the job as being an engineer to work for Kenny Rogers at Lionshare Studios, which led me to working with Michael Jackson and all the other people that I work with, which led me through to my career later, being able to work with Prince and all that. All this stuff came from me having a breakthrough early on, from learning and finding out you have to tie all the things together rather than being mechanical about it and doing one thing at a time just because somebody said do it. And I had to unlearn a lot of stuff, you know. So imagine yourself being able to know how to do this strategically. This is what I want for you, and this is what I'm determined. This is what I've given to a lot of my students. Or if you're a member of the Pensado Students Facebook group, just I guess it was last week or the week before, one of my students, a guy named Craig York, posted something out of the blue. I was totally unsolicited. I didn't ask him to do it, but he, you know, gave me a big shout out and everything, because they had brought the group, legendary group TLC. He did some stuff with his partner, and they ended up with a #1 single in Japan. And you know, it just brought TLC back, you know. And he gave me a lot of credit for helping him, you know, get recognized on things like that. He told me one of the reasons why they ended up getting a job working with Prince as well, you know. So somebody that I worked with, and then the stuff they learned from me, they were able to get a job with a guy like Prince before he passed. And I feel really good about stuff like that. Being able to pass that on to you, to take you guys to the next level, is the whole mission that I'm on. So anyway, if I hope this little bit has been helpful to you. It's not exactly the presentation I wanted to give, but like I said, I will be doing an encore as I work out these bugs. It's just telling me that I can't stress this one computer to try to do everything. So what I'm going to do is spread out the tasks among multiple computers. One computer just for Pro Tools, one computer to run the webinar, and another. I'm going to probably have 3 computers going. One for the webinar, one for the Pro Tools, and one for the presentation. You know, because it seems to be stressing it out. So I'm doing a whole lot back here, guys, behind the scenes. But I want to make sure I bring you the best that it can be. So there's what I'm doing so far is that helpful for what we did today? It wasn't the presentation, like I said, I wanted to give to you, but I wanted to give you some value here, and then I'll show you some more when we do the encore. Type it into the chat box and let me know if that's helpful. Is there anything that you can do now that you can try on some of your music even today if you went ahead and practice? Could you grab one of the nuggets? What was like maybe one of the most helpful things you heard today? Let me know, because I want to know what resonates with you so that I can do more of that, and you know, maybe not cover things that don't mean anything to you. So go ahead and type it in and let me know anything that may have resonated. Okay. Yeah. All right, and I'm glad to see you guys on here. Thank you so much for coming. Please come back to the encore. You're on here, and I think, yeah, I should be able to send you automatic notification when I do the encore. Okay? That's good. That's good, Colin. I'm glad that seeing how I used the EQ in combination with saturation, in combination with some of the other things to increase fatness is a big deal. Yeah, and Gordon has a great point. He said there has to be a reason for everything that you do. There's, you know, we've been kind of duped out here on a lot of things, you know, that we started out with. I know that there was a lot of things that I thought that you had to automatically go and do, and what I'm finding out is you don't have to automatically do anything really. You know, there should be a reason, like Gordon's just saying, a reason before you put anything on, and that reason should go to the end game. So you know, they have a saying where it's like start with the end in mind, and if you do that and get a finished version in your head of what the song is supposed to be about before you grab anything, know what that end result is that you're trying to reach for. That's what I do now. So the first thing I did when I heard this song was, like I said, this is a song. So I had a challenge. First of all, it's an instrumental song, other than it did have hook vocals, background vocals, but it's a sax player's thing. So there's no direct message to say to people with lyrics and stuff like that, other than a few things when the backgrounds come in. So I'm like, okay, so I have to see how are the instruments speaking that message instrumentally. And so going with the end in mind, my thought process was to really understand, what am I hearing? How are each of these instruments working together? You know, so like as I showed in that other video, to tie in the guitar along with the pad, one to, you know, convey the motion in there and to move us and pull us towards God with that sound and everything, and to make us think and make our soul stir. But then the pad kind of glues everything together to feel like a warm blanket, like you're being protected and wrapped around. I had to make that all work, make the two work together, and I had to imagine that in my mind and then go for pulling it together. You know, it's not an easy task, but it is a rewarding task once you figure it out. Okay, so do little things like this. It's a great exercise to go through. You know, understanding how to, you know, I went through different things on here. So, like the bells and everything. I've got bells here, and I know those bells are going to cut through. Oh, I'm on the video here, but we got the bells here where I've got different things. So even though it's a bell, it's cutting through and everything with a lot of attack. So one thing that I have on here to make sure that they don't become irritating is I have a de-esser on it. Little things like that people might not think of, but they make all the difference in making your stuff work together and gel cohesively, so that you know, in the end, when you're listening to the song, it's a pleasant experience. You know. So you guys got any questions? I think we'll wrap it up today. If you feel like if you know that you want to get this mixing gospel music course, go ahead and grab it. And what I'm going to tell you is I have a lot of extra bonuses that you won't see on that sales page if you go there. But if you feel like you want to get it, go to mixinggospelmusic.com/go. You can grab that then anybody I see, I'll know that you came in today, and it's like, okay, well, colleague, I don't know what all is going and attached to this, but I'm in anyway, so just go ahead and sign me up, and I'm with you, man. You know, I get people like that all the time that they don't need to see the encore and everything. They're like, colleague, I know you can teach me, and I know I'm going to get value. I know you're going to give me everything, so I just want to get it, and then I'll wait to hear from you to get all the other stuff. I've got some great bonuses that's going to go in there. Let me see if I can show you one thing that I have. Let me go to my, hopefully I can call it up and show you a picture of it. It was in the presentation, but since I can't do the presentation, I'll show you an image that I think I still have. Yeah, okay, let me show you this, an image of something that I have going on. And I'm going to include one of the bonuses I have in there is I told you about Effects Magic. I've got that module 1 I'm going to give you so that you can get a kind of a sneak peek preview of what's happening inside of that. Then you can decide if you want more from that. But module 1 has a lot of great stuff in it, and that's going to be a bonus when you get mixing gospel music. And also I have a reverb primer in there too, so it'll break it down. It's 7 videos that'll show you the inner workings of how to deal and think about dealing with reverb. Okay. Okay, my computer, yeah, I'm stressing it out trying to get it to open this thing up. I don't think it's going to work. Let's see, let me try it one more time because I want to show you this picture. But the other thing I want to include is, okay, here's a picture of it now. I've got my Legacy series here. Let me see if I can make this a little bigger. And then I'm going to show you the image. Let's break this down, and I'm going to switch this over so you can see this. Hold on. My computer's really stressing. It's like, colleague, give me a break. You're killing me, bro. Okay, so let's try this. Take you over and see if you can see this. I'm going to switch it and see if you can see what's going on with this. Okay, that's my Legacy series. That's my Legacy collection. That's going to be part of it. That's a $1,506 value. 5 of my original products that I created. I've been creating products now for a few years, helping my students. So the guy Craig York that I told you about, that got the job with Prince and TLC and all them, he was in with some of these earlier products and everything. Now, you know, now I call them my legacy products because I don't really push to sell these either more. You know, they've been around for a while, but you know that engineering information does not change really. I mean, just new stuff gets added to it, but the foundational stuff doesn't get changed or whatever. So this stuff is still valuable and still very relevant, but I just call it my legacy thing, and I'm giving this as a bonus. 5 different products that are going to be part of all that. Vocal mixing secrets. Vocal recording secrets, crush it with compressors, $10 tutorials, and EQ secrets revealed. I'm giving all of that in as a bonus of $1,506 value included for anybody that buys the full version of mixing gospel music. You know, that's one of them things where I have to manually get it to you. That's going to be limited. I'm basically doing that for the first 10 people is what I was going to do because I don't want to give away that much to too many people, but I wanted to make it a reason. It's a holiday going in and everything, so that for you guys showing up. If anybody just wants to deal with that now, you can go ahead and order. Go to mixinggospelmusic.com/go. If you do that, that'll take you there, and then once I see that you've been time stamped with that today's date and everything, you should be able to get it. You will get it because I'll make sure I send it to you. Okay. Anyway, with that being said, I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap things up here. And unless you got some final questions or anything, let me know if you got any final questions. Go ahead and call it a wrap for today with the little bit that I got on there. And please go ahead and just join me in the in the encore. If you can join me in the encore, that will be really great. Okay. Let's see. Any more questions? I'm going to wait for a little bit because of the 30-second delay. And if there's no more questions or anything, you're welcome, Colin. I appreciate you coming on here. Um, I hope you maybe if you can get in with us if you haven't already. I can't remember because I have some people on here that already are part of it as well too. But if you haven't joined already, it'd be a good time to get in now, especially with the holiday season kicking in, to become a part of this whole thing. It'll be limited to a few people, and I'll have some great gifts and bonuses for you guys. Anyway, I guess that's it. If everybody's cool, I'll go ahead and wrap it up, and I'll let you guys know about the encore presentation after I bring a third computer in here and have everybody just handling their own stuff, so that way I won't stress it out. Then I can give you a good, nice, smooth presentation. It was looking really good too. I got the presentation and it really, I had my slides looking all good, and you saw I had the Terminator in there and everything. So yeah, it's going to be a good presentation. So even if you saw this one, come back and join me on the next one. I think you'll enjoy it, and I'm going to try to work it out. I'd like to try to see Gordon. I'll touch base with you because I'd like to maybe even see if I can find a way to embed it in Facebook Live and get it where the folks on the Pensado students can see what's going on. If not, otherwise I'll just get you a link so that folks can hang out with us. Anyway, catch you guys later, and I hope that was helpful. This is colleague Glover, also known as ColecoVision. Talk to y'all later. Bye.